So anyway, I've got this new bike, right? It's a Specialized Ethos, or is it Athos, Porthos, Aramis, D'Artagnan? It's one of the three musketeers anyway. And the thing about it, right, is that it's the lightest production bike ever made. Right? It's not this one behind me. I'm still waiting to get it, but it's I think it's like 6 kilograms. And the thing about it is, if you can get the weight down, right, on your bike, then you can just fly up the hills. So saving weight is so important. So I've got this really light bike, right, and then I thought, instead of having like handlebars that are like 44 centimeters wide, right, if you narrowed the handlebars, that would save a bit of weight, wouldn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down the handlebars so they're about 20 centimeters, something like that. And it seems to me that you don't need the drops. I mean, that just adds extra weight, isn't it? So I'm going to saw them off, right? And then the thing about it is, you know, on the wheels, right, you've got the wheels, you've got the spokes, you've got the hubs. Well, I don't see the point of the spokes. Well, I don't see the point of all the spokes. I reckon you could manage with like 3 spokes. So I'm going to cut most of the spokes out of the front wheel, leaving, let's say, 3, and I'll probably leave about, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the back wheel, because that takes a bit more of your weight, even though you've got a really light bike. And the thing about the hubs, okay, the hubs, well, you don't need the hubs, right? All you need is the round bit of the wheel and perhaps a couple of spokes. So I'm going to get rid of the hubs. And then the brakes, right? I mean, obviously you need brakes. You need brakes front and rear, but do you really need brake levers? I don't quite see the point of those, because you could reach down and you could squeeze the brakes with your hand, couldn't you? And you could reach behind and you could squeeze the rear brakes. I don't see the point of having the brake levers, so I'm going to get rid of them. And then the cables, they add a lot of weight. So I thought I could get really lightweight cables, or maybe just use one cable for like the brakes and the gears. But I don't really need all of those gears. So I'm thinking of getting rid of the front chainring. You know, you get this one buy system. Well, I'm thinking, why can't you have a no buy system? Why do you need chain rings at all? Why do you need the chain? I don't really see the point of that. And then the thing about, you know, the tyres, right? I mean, you've got tyres and I'm using them with tubes, but I thought, well, what is the point of having the tubes? Why not go tubeless and just have the tyres? Because that would be a lot lighter. But then I thought, hang on a minute, surely it's the tyres that are the heavy bit. Why not get rid of those and just use the tubes? And in fact, why not get rid of the tubes and just have the air around the rims? Because that's going to save a lot of weight, isn't it? And then on the saddle, I've got like this cut out saddle, you know, it's got a big cut out in the middle. Well, I thought, well, you don't need anything in the middle, do you? So I'm going to get like a Stanley knife, you know, I'm going to cut out a great big cutout. And then I thought, well, you don't really need the bit at the sides, do you? So I'm going to get like a Stanley knife and like shave it round. You know, it's one of those really thin Brooks saddles, but I thought if I shave it off, that's really going to cut it down. And the seat post, right, there's a lot of extra weight in that seat post that you don't really need. So I thought if I shorten the seat post and then so I sit lower to the ground, then I can reduce my centre of gravity. Do you know what I mean? And then on the cranks, right, you've got your pedals and you've got your cleats and you've got your shoes. And I was thinking, well, there's a lot of weight bound up in those. So why don't you get rid of the pedals? Because then you could get rid of your shoes, you see, because you wouldn't need your cleats. And if you got rid of your shoes, well, you don't need socks, do you? So I thought, well, you could ride in bare feet, and that would make a lot of sense. And then when I started to think about that, I thought, well, there's a lot of weight in your clothes, isn't it? I mean, like, you know those pockets? You've got 3 pockets in the back of your jersey. I mean, that's taking up extra material. So I got some scissors and I cut the pockets off, right? And then I thought, well, you know, the sleeves of your jersey, I mean, there's a lot of weight in the sleeves. So I cut the sleeves off, right? And then I thought, well, you know, you might need a bit of protection on your front, but you don't really need a lot of protection on your back, do you? So I've cut the back out of the jersey. And then on the bib shorts, you know, I put the bib shorts on the scales, and that chamois thing, you know, that big padded nappy thing to protect your ass and that, well, that weighs a lot. So I've cut the chamois out of my shorts, right? So I'm not using that anymore. So I've just got my arse, right? with the shorts without the chamois. And then I thought, well, if I've got the chamois out, I don't really need the shorts, do I? So I've gotten rid of the shorts. And then I was going to sit on that, you know, that shaved saddle that I said I did with the big cutout. But then I thought, well, actually, if you've gotten rid of all of that, why not go the whole hog and get rid of the whole fucking saddle? Why not just sit on the seat post, and then the seat post could like go up your clunge, and that would stop you falling off the bike, wouldn't it? And that would save a hell of a lot of weight. And then I was thinking that, you know, the paint scheme on the Specialized D'Artagnan, I mean, there's a lot of weight within that paint, so I've put it into like an acid bath. Do you know what I mean? I took a couple of tabs myself, and then I dipped the bike in the acid bath. I'm going to anyway. I've put the acid in the bath. I mean, it's eaten through the bath. The wife's not very happy, but anyway, I'm going to put the bike in the acid bath, and that's going to get rid of all the paint and probably everything else as well, all the grease and stuff, because there's a lot of weight in that grease. I had a tube of grease and I weighed it, and it was like 7 grams. I couldn't believe it. So if you could get rid of that, and then you're thinking, well, Gillian, why are you trying to get rid of all the weight on your bike? Surely it's the weight on your body that's causing you most problems. Well, I'm a step ahead of you there, and I've started this thing that I've seen. It's called the Nurses Food Bank diet, because you know, all these nurses, they haven't got enough money, so they have to go to the food bank, so they're living on like 1,500 calories a day. So I thought, well, if I live on 1,500 calories a day for a couple of months, that's going to get my weight right down. I mean, it's not going to do me much good as a nurse, but then I'm not a nurse anyway, so it doesn't make any fucking difference, does it? So I'll be lightweight but a lousy nurse, but I'm not working for the NHS, so that doesn't matter. So once I get into what they call the malnutrition phase, which is just this kind of size of just this side of starvation, you know Kate Moss, this great cyclist back in the 90s, you know, when she said you can never be too rich or too thin. And I was saying to myself, well, I wonder if they ever said that to Karen Carpenter. But I'm thinking, if I can get my weight down to like about, I don't know, about 4 stone, do you know what I mean? And I'm not weighed down by these clothes and shit and the helmet, because you don't need the helmet, because, you know, once my head loses all this weight, my head's going to be so small, it's going to be like a walnut. So I'm not really going to need a helmet at all. So then I've got this really great lightweight bike. I mean, I'm just going to be like the weight weenie #1, and then I'll be able to, you know, beat my PB up Box Hill, because they say once your weight comes down, your power goes up, because it's the power to weight ratio. You know, if your weight is here, then your power's up here. So I'm thinking I'll be like 4 stone, and the bike will weigh like half a kilogram or something like that, but I'll be putting out 400 watts. So I'm going to be storming up Box Hill, and the rest of you fuckers, you can just wait behind me till I get to the top and I'm on Strava, and that's me. I'm the best because I'm the lightest.